Thanks for coming along to the Day with Inner Rhythm and Jess Liston and hosting this beautiful Women's Day. Would you like to share how the day has been for you?
I feel like it's still early to percolate everything that that has happened, because it's been quite deep and really beautiful and really calming. And I think other people have actually mentioned they noticed that in me as well, that, you know, from the start of the day to the end of the day, how that energy has just kind of like, how I've settled into my own energy. So I think there'll be a lot of things over the next while that will emerge from the time, both with the horses and the group. Yeah.
I think that's beautiful what you've said, because it actually is so helpful to know that what these days evoke for us isn't just something that we go and do in a paddock with a horse and then we go back to life. It's actually very rich of layers and symbology and healing and personal development. So when you said that it's going to take a while to filter through, I think it's really, really true.
Yeah, it's not instantaneous, although there are things that I've experienced today that are sort of like, I know that it's just this continuous building of, I guess, building on your own intuition and your own wisdom, and that's just really powerful when it's an experience rather than a concept.
Yes, and it's a felt experience, isn't it? 'Cause
yeah.
So much of what's going on is in our head, so to be embodied throughout the day.
Yeah.
If you had to say out of 10 when you arrived today and perhaps first sat down, and say how you were travelling within yourself emotionally, so 10 being really feeling quite fragile and 0 being so calm you're nearly asleep, where would you say you would have been on that radar this morning?
I think today on arrival, somewhere like an 8 or 9, or not 9, 9's a bit strong.
Yeah.
8 probably.
Yeah. And reflecting now, sort of 6, 7, 8 hours, however long we've been here, how would you track your whole body with your system? Where would you say that would be at?
I think gone down to a 4 or a 3.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. And just being out in the environment is incredible in itself. The subtlety of the horses, because they're the masters in helping co-regulate our nervous systems.
Yeah.
And you've been lucky enough to be working really closely with Bessie, the beautiful golden retriever, all day.
Yeah. She was right there when just a little bit of a cry came out at the beginning, just kind of sharing my story, and well, the whole day's felt supported, really, from the other women, from the facilitators, from Jess and Bessie, and then the horses, and also just the environment. And I don't know about other people, but the wind, like, that's felt like a very nice part of shifting things.
It was quite dramatic at times, wasn't it? And it is. It's being and a little bit disturbing. So it just helps everything move quite along.
Yeah.
So have you had much to do with horses before? Have you?
I have, not as a child. Well, there were some horses in my street. I lived not very far from the city, and it was a while back, so horses were still close to the city. And I always had a desire for them, but I only really started proper intentional relationship when I was in my 30s, and I instantly realised that they're a mirror. Like, I hadn't actually come across that idea or concept before, and it was just, I went to them because I had a love for their majesty, and when I started to understand that relationship, that just gave me even more of a desire to spend time with them. And I actually enjoy groundwork, not more than riding, but it's really interesting to me. I have spent some time in equine therapy and with Horses for Hope in particular, and spending that time to see how you're feeling and to do that trust work with animals. It's just another world, and it totally makes sense to me. And it's always a little bit hard to explain to other people. But I'm always sharing that story, and their eyes widen. But yeah, I think it's been about 7 years that I've been touching on.
And would you say that, could you imagine that somebody has never had a thing to do with a horse would get an experience from these workshops as well? From what you've seen and experienced today, do you feel like that you would be okay if you'd never actually even patted a horse before?
Yeah, I do remember I had to get used to being around their physical largeness. So that was something initially for me that I wasn't used to, and but that makes you more sensitive. So the fact that they're quite big, but the thing is, horses are so generous and so gentle that as you start to get more comfortable with that size, it just keeps bouncing back as a comfortable thing. So yeah, I mean, today that was, I think, if you've never been around a horse before, it's a gentle start because there's so many people supporting as well. So that's a long answer.
Yeah, and I asked that question because a lot of people, I think, probably have an expectation to come towards something like this, that they need horse experience or horse knowledge, or they need to be competent with the horse. And so the question was to show that anyone can turn up. And
yeah, I think that coming here with no experience of horses would just absolutely blow your mind. There isn't anything that you need to know because the facilitators are handling the horses, and so yeah, it would be nice to go back into that first time and have that magic of like, whoa, these horses know what's going on inside. How does that happen?
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful.
Yeah. And I think as humans, in so much of our society, we've got used to, making horses do something for us, or riding horses, and we miss so much of the subtleness of their gifts. And I suppose that's what all these trainings are about, is just we're sitting in the subtleness. We're slowing down, calming down to be aware of the messages and the teachings, that ancient horse wisdom.
I feel really excited about this becoming more accessible to people, and for people to learn that communication is not just about words, and to really kind of start to look at their own energy and the energy around them. And it might sound a little, it might sound hippie to some people, but it really isn't.
No.
It's just a real experience, and the way that it can surprise you is it just has these it has a ripple effect in your life. So it's really powerful, and I want everyone to have at least one experience with what horses really have to offer.
And that's beautiful. That's the purpose of also catching these moments of people's experience on film, is so that at the moment, a lot of people don't even know to go towards this as a therapy, as a healing tool, as a possibility. It just seems so random. So just getting the exposure of that, people would even go, oh, maybe I could try that for myself. So beautiful sharing. Thank you so much. Is there a take-home message that you'd like to part with, as what you would take home most today from the horseless experience?
I guess I've just been reminded of, which is what they always do, they always remind me of how simple it can be to come into yourself and to and just how powerful allowing yourself to trust can be. But you know, you could, if you ask me in half an hour or an hour or a day or a week, there's always going to be a new answer. It's that it's just really opening. I've been reminded of how opening sharing this type of experience with a horse, where you're not demanding them to do anything except be with you.
Yes. Yeah, so we're always saying be mindful of your dreams that follow for the next few days, week. If you're inclined to journal anything, this work keeps moving and going through. It doesn't just stop the moment that you drive out the driveway. So you've articulated that so beautifully. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you. It's been such
lovely.
A beautiful day,
Yeah.
and so everything's been so pretty, and it just you can feel like every consideration in every part of the day. So it's been very beautiful. Thank you.